Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast. Today we're going to take a look at a plane and an airline that were icons of the past, but mostly forgotten today. A 1/500 scale Boeing 747-100 in the livery of Transworld Airlines.
Leading the way.
TWA presents the difference between getting you where you're going and leading the way.
Leading the way. TWA. We're proud to have you fly with us. Relax, we'll make your day. Leading the way.
TWA, together with Pan Am, were major American carriers, and their liveries, especially TWA's final one, which they adopted in 1995, look amazing to this day. Now, this is the second release of the TWA 747. Herpa's first release had this plane incorrectly labeled as the 747-200, but it was the exact same model as this one, with the exact same 3 windows on the upper deck. So they corrected that error on the packaging for this second release. Now, if we take a look at the side here, we can see that this is catalog number 502504. You've got the TWA logo here again, and Herpa Wings logo up there. And if you take a look at the back of the box, you've got the original dimensions of the 747, wingspan of 59.64 meters, length of 70.66, and a height of 19.33 meters. So I got this plane for €9, which is a really great price for a 747. Even though this is an old-gen Herpa, the livery looks fantastic, as I will show you in a second. And I don't think Herpa ever made a new generation version of this. So here's the plane inside the box, and I'm going to take it out, and here it is, the TWA 747-100. There is a simple way by which you can tell 747s apart. The most widespread variant, the 747-400, has winglets, while earlier 747s didn't. And by early, I mean 747-100, 200, and 300. The 747-100 only has 3 windows on the upper deck because this whole area of the plane was originally designed as a lounge for first-class passengers to hang out and smoke in, with like a bar and sofas. I mean, this was the good old days of the 1970s and 1980s when flying was an experience for well-off people and not just a way for everyone to get from A to B. It was short-lived, though, as the 747-200 started to convert this area into additional passenger seating, so they added a row of windows at the top. And here's a comparison to a 747-200. This is a 1600 model by Shabak, which I showed in my old plane collection video. Not really a collector's model because it is old and all that, but just to give you an idea that this one had the full row of windows, while the 747-100 did not. And the 747-300 came with an upper deck exit door that would swing up only for emergencies and couldn't be used for boarding. The 747-400 adopted that layout, but came with the winglets. Then we have the 747SP with shortened fuselage, and then we have the 747-8, which is an extended version of the plane, and its engine cowlings have jagged edges, which are called chevrons. So we'll start off our review by taking a look at the L1 door of the Boeing 747-100, and you can see that Herpa has done a really good job on this Transworld Airline livery. I mean, it just looks absolutely fantastic. right? This was called the Golden Globe livery, which was adopted in 1995 and lasted until 2001. And so you can see that this circular thing here is actually in the shape of a globe, where on the left side you have the North American continent, there's Greenland up at the top, and then on the right side you have Europe. Like I said, you have these three windows up here for the 747-100. You have the cockpit emergency exit door. The cockpit does not have any window frames, but we'll get to that later. The window line looks good. The sheet lines underneath have one or two small issues, but I mean, that's all right. And as you move along, you can see the L2, L3, L4, and L5 doors of the 747. And then at the back here, we have the vertical stabilizer with the TWA branding, and you can see how the red and the black sort of swoop up and onto the tail with an American flag at the top. Taking a look at the horizontal stabilizers, you've got some nice details here. You can see that the elevators are nicely pronounced, and there's a little bit of gray to separate the edges from the center. And now if we take a look at these wings, I think the wings are nicely detailed for a 1500 747. You can see that the flaps, slats, ailerons, air brakes are all carved really nicely. There's no paint overlap on them. And then we have these black bands. And these are standard issue on the wings of a 777, where they are supposed to be right above the main landing gear. But on the TWA livery, they were just there for decoration. And taking a look at the engines of the 747-100, you can see that the cowlings are in white. They've got silver leading edges, and they're supposed to be Pratt & Whitney JT9Ds. And of course, the 747 has 4 of them. And Herpa did an okay job on the interior detailing. I mean, you can see that the fan blades are visible, and they've got depth and everything, so I think that they look good. And now checking out the front of the aircraft, you can see that the cockpit windows are pretty basic. They don't have any silver frames or any windshield wipers, but I think they get the job done. Now, of course, with this being an old generation Herpa, you can see that it has the clunky landing gear. However, I think that on a 747, it really doesn't matter as much as on some of the smaller aircraft. And now taking a look at the bottom of the plane, you can see the wings trailing edge fairings, which look pretty nice. Here's again a look at the slats. And the engines aren't very clean. I should have cleaned them a little bit, but alright. It is an old model. You can see it says Herpa here in the middle. And yeah. So I hope you guys liked my review of the 1/500 scale Boeing 747-100 in the last 1995 livery of Transworld Airlines. If you're interested in more plane reviews, make sure to check out some of my other videos right here. And as always, take care, have a wonderful day, and this is Imperial Diecast, signing out.